afternoon. My name is Tracy McBurney. Email address is on the board. I actually have a tracymcburney.com website. It's not very exciting. There's not much there. There's a welcome from holiday message. I haven't changed much. Not so good at that, but there's some really nice audio recordings there that were streaming from CBS radio in the States last year and the year before. They're there for you if you'd like them. I like to study this technology, the technology of us, the technology of our consciousness. Welcome to Biology of Belief and Perception lecture. I am the Psychology of Disease teacher for this school, and it is my passion to teach that class. I love to teach it. Okay, what we learn, and what I'm bringing forward in this class, is environment matters. This is something that was brought forward in that book that you just saw in the first side, Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief. Environment matters. We figured that out. This is the forefront of epigenetics, and we'll talk about that in a second. So cellular biologists have started to see now that we can affect positive change in our genetic matter when we have positive change within the universe. In other words, environment matters. It puts a real nice spin on people that are in this school. Environment matters. One of the things that we're doing in this school is teaching people how to rearrange what's going on in the internal matter of us, in the internal environment of us, using better nutrition, and in my class, Psychology of Disease, better thought, better belief, better attitude. Environment matters. And whatever is going on inside is going to be reflected outside. It's what science is now seeing. This creates this. It's not the other way around. So Darwin, by the end of his life, conceded that his evolutionary theory had shortchanged the role of the environment. In my opinion, he says, the greatest error which I have committed has been in not allowing sufficient weight to the direct action of the environment. And he wrote that in a letter. So this gives birth to epigenetics, the study of how the environment impacts expression and impacts us. This is what I wanted to learn in my genetics class all those years ago. It must have been, 30 years ago? I was at U of T taking a third-year medical school genetics class as an elective. My mother said, "What are you doing? You should be taking basket weaving classes for an elective class to raise your GPA average." I said, "But Mom, I really want to learn this. I really want to learn something more than I learned in high school." So I stepped into that third-year medical school, and I was so disappointed. I remember going home on Sunday night that night for dinner and saying, I'm locked in this class now, and I'm pissed off because they're not telling me anything new. They're just elaborating on the stuff, and they're making it more complicated than it was when I was in high school, but it's nothing new. Well, I had to do a nice piece of forgiveness. I had to do a nice piece of Ho'oponopono work. I'll explain that maybe later in the lecture. I needed to forgive what they didn't know. The university professors didn't know it. The scientists didn't know it. Nobody knew it. The epigenetics of genetics. But somewhere all those years ago, I wanted to know it. I knew there was more. And I was so excited to learn more. And it took about 30 some odd years and a big mistake before we got to the place of learning more. So epi means above. Control above the genes, thoughts, beliefs, attitudes would be a big portion of the control above the genes. Epigenetics was born from our giant oops moment, science's giant oops moment. And I'm sure maybe they would have liked to bury that a little bit more, but this failure of the Human Genome Project was a really well-publicized thing, because it was really well publicized, the money that they wanted to bring forward for that project. So scientists hypothesized before that project began that Human Genome Project, they hypothesized that we had about 120,000 genes or more, and they figured that out because there was an old theory, not a proven theory, but an old theory that said for every protein, there is a gene corresponding to it. And that's kind of what I learned in school. So they know that we have over 100,000 proteins, and so they went, this is a cakewalk. We know that we're looking for about 120,000 genes because we got to find the genes that correspond to each individual protein. So, truth, we have just over 24,000 genes, which is about 300 more genes than the common earthworm. That's what they found. Newest truth. This one comes out after Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief book. This one just came out last year or the year before. The newest truth, the apple has 600 more genes that have currently been mapped than we do. Now, if we're actually working from that old concept, then somehow it would mean that the apple has something more to deliver us than we do. Maybe it's the apple a day thing might actually make some sense. So the failure at that time brought forward the necessary question in science, which said, what's governing then the expression of the genes, the rewriting of the genes, and the replication of the genes? Because we're confused. And I gotta tell you, it's really cool. When science gets a bee in its bonnet, especially when it is feeling really not good about itself, the light is really big. And so there was a huge, big focus on this because the world knew of this failure. And I'm sure they would have liked to have kept it quiet, but it wasn't quiet because there was a lot of publicity around getting the money that was needed generated into that project. So if you knew anything about that project, and it took me a while to actually understand it, because the popular concept is let's demonize the pharmaceutical industry. But really, at the end of the day, it was the financial minds that designed the Human Genome Project. They looked at what the scientists were doing and they said, we can make money here. We can make money here. We can bankroll and we can find the people to bankroll the discovering of all of this, and then we can sell it to the pharmaceutical industry after we have the patents. So really, at the end of the day, that is exactly what has happened. The 23,000 odd genes that the humanity has are owned and patented by pharmaceutical companies. I don't know what that means. So what we learn from this, as science starts to really look at the answer for why, like how does this happen? How do we end up with 300 more genes than the common earthworm, and yet we seem to be more complex creatures? And so this brings forward epigenetics. Epigenetics starts to recognize the power of the signals. Signals move protein. Remember, we've got over 100,000 proteins. Protein movement is life. You don't do anything, I don't do anything, I don't walk, I don't point to this, I don't do anything without movement, meaning everything has signals. So science now becomes very interested in things like belief, perceptions, attitudes, and emotions, because all of this is linked to chemicals, and chemicals are very powerful signals. So now they're really interested in this, much more interested in this than they were before, because now they're starting to see, wow, this can start to control genetics. It can start to control what is going on in our DNA. Now, I didn't create a slide for it, maybe I should have, but these are not the only signals. When we're sitting in psychology of disease class, we would then point out that the signals would also be signals for metals. The signals would be signals for sound and light. In other words, things that have an energy component to them. Electromagnetic frequencies, cell phone frequencies, wireless frequencies, all of these things are signals. And so they have a powerful effect on what is going on in our genetic matter. So every single thing we believe has a decision behind it to believe what came before the install of that belief. That's a really cool thing to know. That we had to do all of that before we said to ourselves at an unconscious level, I'm going to believe that. So belief can change and run hundreds of behaviors. Hundreds of behaviors, if you think about that for a second. I am believing that I am not liked. I'm believing that. Maybe I'm unconsciously believing it. The most insidious beliefs that we have are the ones that are unconscious. Because even though they're unconscious, that doesn't mean that they're not running hundreds of behaviors. So if I believe that I am not liked at an unconscious level, or even a conscious level, what behaviors are emanating from me that maybe wouldn't be there if I didn't have that belief? How am I trying to be liked? How am I running around trying to be liked? How am I trying to please other people? How am I trying to fill all of their emptiness when really I'd really like to be doing this? But I got to stay committed to this first. Because at a conscious or unconscious level, I am feeling quite unliked. And to feel quite unliked or unloved is to feel very unsettled within us. So I got to move away from what it is that I'd really like to do and where I'd really like to follow to come over here and manage this and get this all changed. But the issue being that we don't really know if it's happening unconsciously, that all of that is where we are committed. What we see is that we're not committed over here. That's what we see. We see that we're sabotaging over here. We're saying that we're setting a goal, but as we set the goal and direct our attention there, how long does it take before we're over here? Well, why are we over here again? Because we're committed to something over here. Because something is louder over here. We're always going to follow what is louder. And the louder can be deeply buried in the unconscious. And there can be hundreds of those behaviors. There are songs that are currently written about that. Curl your hair, fix your skirt. All of it managing here when I'd really, really, really like to be doing this. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Kind of a famous quote from Henry Ford, so I thought, why don't we place it here? If we believe that nobody loves me, if this belief is held in unconscious thinking, then we can delete all evidence to the contrary, and we will never see it. That is a truth. Our unconscious mind will delete the evidence to the contrary because it is siding with us. It is siding with the decision that says, nobody loves me. We call it delete, distort, delude. It's a powerful programming in the unconscious thinking. If we have a good imagination, we can excel at distorting reality to serve the beliefs and decisions that keep us potentially trapped but right. Dr. Phil became a little famous for one of those phrases. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be right. Where are you? So how is this going to affect the mind and the heart and the body over time? The constant feeling that I am not loved, that I am not lovable, that I am not liked. We are connection beings. That is a fact. We are connection beings. It will affect our blood. It will affect our body. It will affect our hearts. It will affect where our heart goes. It will affect our thinking, and not to the positive. Which means if we go back to the beginning where the book was, it's going to affect our genetic matter. And how long is it going to take before it affects that genetic matter? That's what they're studying. Minutes? Days? Weeks? Do we just twist and turn the expression of that DNA within a second? What Bruce Lipton was really good at showing us, and what he writes in the Biology of Belief book, is he says, one gene, this is what was in the book at that time, one gene can express itself in something like 35,000 different ways. One gene. That's what they found out. That's the power of the environment. So here's our gene. Some of you have heard about the BRCA1 gene, the one that supposedly is going to be the demon monster for breast cancer. Right, the BRCA1 gene, you got to find out if you've got that gene, because that makes you susceptible to a certain kind of breast cancer and susceptible to ovarian cancer at the same time. Well, there's the gene. That's the gene on the chromosome. And you have it. You got it. And you find out that you have it. Well, what are you going to do about that information? What's your strategy? How much information did somebody give you about that gene? Did they tell you about epigenetics? Did they tell you what Bruce Lipton was telling us in Biology of Belief? Did they tell you that beliefs, attitudes, emotions mean something and that they can change environment? Did they tell you that just because that BRCA gene is sitting in that chromosomal level of you, that you don't have to express it? Did they tell you that? And if in fact you have that gene, then they've started to give us an answer for, well, why the heck did I not express that gene when I was born? Why the heck did I not have some tumor that was actually growing right in the womb, coming right out onto this planet? Well, they kind of gave us the answer. Because the environment was such that it was cloaked. So what science was doing for a long time is science was studying the genetic matter and throwing away the protein sheath, kind of like the protein condom. They were throwing away the protein sheath that was covering over what they wanted to get into study. And they were throwing it in the garbage. But that protein sheath is exactly why you would not be expressing that gene. Because for the longest time, you had a protein sheath over that gene, and maybe that gene was twisted this way, so that the chromosome was expressing something else in time and space. So what happened in your environment? What is going on in your internal environment connecting to your external environment that has made this shift? Not just the shift in the chromosome to be able to bring that forward, but is literally signaled for the lovely condom that's normally over that piece of material to literally find its way movement down so that now you can express that gene. So that now that gene is the one that's being replicated. What is going on with you that has that monkey business that has never been part of your world, even though that gene has always been part of your world? What is the monkey business that you are currently in right now that is doing that? Because it was happily existing within you. Now it's interesting, since the book was written, Biology of Belief, I think now what the scientists are saying is they've upped it from 35,000 plus ways to 75,000 plus ways. Well, only one of the ways on that chromosome for that gene to be expressed is this BRCA1 way of breast cancer, if in fact that is true and valid. So you got 74,999 plus ways other than that way. Why don't you choose one of those? What's preventing you from choosing one of those? What's stopping you from choosing one of those? What are you focused on or committed to in beliefs, patterns, attitudes that's got you over here? What unconscious beliefs, attitudes, perceptions are playing out? What emotional state are you in? What environment have you delivered you in? What toxic environment have you delivered yourself into? that is changing the very matter and how it is being reflected into the universe. Is that not cool? It's cool. What it says is we have power. We have power where the genetics that I learned in high school and that I further went and learned more complication around in university didn't teach me that I had power. It taught me that I got genes from my parents and that, boy, there was a high potential that one or more of those genes was going to be able to replicate cancer because you got it everywhere in your family. So at some point, that's probably what you're going to die from. That's probably what you're going to experience. It's a good thing I have a rebel card. I have a rebel card in my archetypal deck because I threw that down and said, I'm rebelling against that. And it's probably why I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more in university because what I learned in high school didn't feel very safe. It felt very victim-like, so I figure when you got playing with the big boys, maybe they'd tell you how everything was just safe and good and how you had power and where that power was. Well, we know it now. So possibility, a thing that may happen or be the case, equals probability. Probability, as far as the science world is concerned, is a numerical thing. Your probability of coming out of that is from 0 to 10, a 2. Your probability is very linked to possibility. Knowing this about your genetics, knowing this about your biology, knowing this about the power of beliefs and attitudes and emotions, and how your genetic matter operates and how it's affected by environment, does not that open a couple of more possibilities for you if you are delivered a piece of information that says, yes, you have that BRCA1 gene? Limiting beliefs have an incredible amount of power over the mind-body connection. I am always, always, always looking at these in my office, always. I say it to students all the time, it is not enough that people come into my office and they plop $210 down or they're willing to write a check for that or put an interact in around that. And here I am, and can you help me with this? It's like, well, I've sat quietly with this and I believe I've got some information to share with you on this or I wouldn't have said yes to this appointment. Now the question is, are you open to helping you with this? In other words, are we both online today? I don't have any limiting beliefs around this. I see the possibility of you finding your way out of this. I do not believe that I am the only person that you are going to be looking to for help, but I see the possibility of you absolutely finding your way out of this because you are light that is matter, you are energy that is matter, and you are connected to the quantum possibility of a quantum universe of all possibilities. And because you are linked to the quantum universe of all possibilities, I hold for you the possibility of healing and wellness. Now, where are you? I hold for you a 100% resolution of this problem. Now, are you holding that? Or are you sitting in some limiting belief that tells you, well, no, not yet, or no, that's not benefit, and you don't even know because they're sitting in the unconscious? It's the very first thing I want to find out is, are you online? Not just are you online with me and my intention to help you, are you online with this very universe and the possibilities that it has for you? The only real voyage of discovery consists not of seeking new landscapes, but by having new eyes. There's this very kind of yucky, kind of gnarly, kind of street cat sitting here, and then you've got this beautiful lion. And the cat's looking at both of those perceptions in the mirror. Perception is projection. Perception is reality. It is our reality. It does not really matter what the truth is. It matters, what are you perceiving? Where is your point of perception? Because that's what everything is running from. That's what's affecting your genetic matter. That's what's affecting your hormones. That's what's affecting your feelings. That's what's affecting your day, your perception. Perception is connected to our perspective. And our perspective is governed out of a set of filters. And filters are interesting because filters are just a mass conglomeration of past information. So we get filters and a filtering system from the parental world and our ancestral lineage. They deliver to us right into the DNA strands how to perceive certain things and what the world is going to be like. They tell us on some level, at a very, very unconscious level, what to expect. And the filters speak to us about what to prepare ourselves for. Our filters govern how we see the world and from what angle. They can be very much inherited, and we can be predisposed to certain diseases as a result of that. German New Medicine and meta-medicine really speak to that concept. When they really would say shocks that come to us and hit at heart, and then hit at brain, and then hit at a particular organ, a very specific organ of the body. Why that specific organ? It has a lot to do with filters. It has a lot to do with your predisposition unconsciously to take in information in a certain way. So if you go through a shock of somebody's sudden death, you might have a predisposition to take that in as loss. Loss, the shock impacts at heart, it impacts at brain, it impacts at a specific organ regulated by the filters, and it goes right into the organ that connects to loss. Somebody else would take that sudden death as, oh, I have been separated from, and because they take it in not as loss, they take it in as, oh, now I am separated from this opportunity, I am separated from the... Now it affects a completely different area of the body. To take that shock in German New Medicine and meta-medicine would say, as loss, would say you're now sharing that shock with the ovaries, or for a man, the testes. To be a person that filters that same thing, sudden death of somebody that we care about, taking that shock in as separation from, can impact bone. Both of those things generating cells now changing because they now are impacted with an energy. Trapped energy that's now changing the cells. Creating what German New Medicine would call cysts or tumors. But really what's happening is the cell has been affected by the shock and the trapped energy within it. And so it is literally showing us the presence of that trapped energy. Where that energy gets trapped is very connected to filters. There has never been a time in our history where the brain was not affecting the body and the body was not affecting the brain. And there never will be. But I felt like if we're going to move into this section, we need to bring forward a bit of reverence for this woman. Her name is Dr. Candace Pert. Her first book was Molecules of Emotion. She is no longer alive. She single-handedly with her team, I feel, worked diligently for 30 some odd years, if not more, delivering us and delivering science everything that they needed to be able to start to say, okay, all right, we get it. Mind, body is real, and you've made it visible. She made mind, body visible. She explained it. She studied it, she did experiments around it, and there is a whole new field of medicine called neuropsychoimmunology as a result of her work. So we can explore mind-body because she explored mind-body. And we can explore it through science because she, I guess, threw down the rebel card and said she was going to go where no man had gone before. Our reality is created by beliefs and perceptions that then cascade into thoughts and feelings that then will create more belief and perception. All of it chemical. Thoughts become matter. In other words, mind becomes body. Thoughts become matter. And one of the biggest ways that thoughts become matter is that thoughts generate feelings. You have a thought, and very quickly after having that thought, there is a corresponding feeling. That feeling starts to cascade into the body. If you keep having those thoughts, you keep cascading those feelings and those thoughts into the body. How long does it take before the body has now become those thoughts? How long does it take before the body has lost itself in knowing itself as anything else other than the anger emotion that you keep feeling to the injustices that are around you? Kind of an interesting thought. Why do you keep creating injustice experiences for yourself? You are the creator of your life. I'm not saying that these aren't injustices. I'm saying, why do you keep creating them? And why do you keep getting angry about them? And why aren't you doing something different? Why are you so interested in creating this way? Why are you so interested in finding the people in your environment to help you to create this way? Okay, we'll go there after. So there's thinking, creating feeling, thinking, creating feeling, then creating more thoughts, creating more feelings, this spiraling. It's state of mind. You are now creating a state of mind for yourself. And I guess that's great if you're creating positive states of mind, and some people are really good at creating positive states of mind. But lots of people aren't. So this is where it gets a little messy. This is where the disease place is. The place where we go in what I call in my office the monkey business, where we just stay in this place, where we experience and we think, and then we have emotional reaction and feelings to it, and then we have more thoughts around it, and then we spiral into the negativity, and we just go round and round and round that ball. And that will impact genetic matter. That will impact internal environment, therefore impacting external environment, because you become a beacon for whatever it is that you are in any given moment. So something like Ho'oponopono, I like it. I like Ho'oponopono. I like the simple little shamanic technique that says, I take responsibility for this circumstance. I take responsibility for this that I am generating and creating outside of me right now. I'm taking responsibility for whatever these monkey business thoughts are and the emotional feelings that I'm having and the reactions that I'm having. I'm taking responsibility for all of it. Forgive me, I love you, I am sorry. Forgive me, I love you, I am sorry. A student asked me once, well, what are you asking for forgiveness from? I said, why don't you just try life itself? Why don't you just try, I'm asking forgiveness from a quantum universe of all possibilities that I sit here holding the same darn possibility every day, going round and round and round, when there are infinite more possibilities and I don't grab one. Because I'm just too interested in being here. Definition of insanity, do the same thing over and over and over again, expect a different result. So Ho'oponopono gets us all the way through here into a natural evolution of life. Yeah?
Can you write down whatever it is?
Yeah. Ho, oh, ho, no, ho, no. The book that you might be interested in looking at is called Zero Limits. And it was written by a gentleman by the name of Joe Vitale. You might know the name Joe Vitale from the movie The Secret, from the book The Secret. He wrote a book before this called The Attractor Factor. He became quite well known for that. He did not invent Ho'oponopono. He went out looking for Dr. Hu Len. He went out looking for this man on a pilgrimage and found him in Hawaii. This man, Dr. Hulen, had learned that technique from an 80-year-old shamanic woman on a beach. And he had used that technique to rewrite and rewire the negative behavior patterns of the mental patients that he was working with in a mental hospital and correction prison facility in Hawaii, to great success. So Ho'oponopono would take us all the way down here and out of the monkey business. Meditation would take us all the way down here and out of the monkey business. Ho'oponopono would start to give us an understanding, because that's what we're asking for. Forgive me, I love you, I am sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you for new understanding. Thank you to the quantum universe. What you're basically saying is, I open. I open to the quantum universe of all possibility that I was not open to yesterday when I was staying in my monkey business, and I open myself to those possibilities, and I let those possibilities stream into me, delivering me new understanding, new ways of behavior, new strategies. I can hardly wait to know consciously what I'm learning, because it's all going to get dumped in my unconscious. But wow, this is going to be really cool when I know. And it doesn't take you long to know. So memories are cellular memories. Those are old thoughts and feelings. So any memory that you have, whether it's positive or negative, is still old thoughts and feelings. So old thoughts and feelings and memories that we have, and cellular memory that we're storing because we haven't resolved something, will literally start to trigger that same kind of monkey business, thought, feelings, thought, feeling, thought, feeling cascade that then creates what we're going to call attitude or state of mind. If you have multiple attitudes that then you create, and these attitudes become personalities, because now they're states of mind. Now people say, oh, you know what, don't pay so much attention to him. He's just an angry old man. He's just a grumpy old man. Well, he wasn't. He didn't start as a grumpy old man. He wasn't a grumpy man 10 years ago. What happened that he's a grumpy man now? What changed his personality? What changed our personalities is the thought-feeling mixture that then creates the attitudes and states of mind that our body starts to own the feelings. So our body loses sight of the truth of what it is and what it can be, and it becomes anger. My body is now anger. My body knows itself as anger. My body now knows itself as grumpy. My body has lost itself in the monkey business. So body addiction to emotion. Through this backward and forward between thought and emotion, your body cycles in this idea of this truth while you're cycling in that pain. Our state of being, body, mind, has become one with that part of the past. And we're needy of the chemicals that are being created in this strategy. We become needy of them. We become addicted to them. So body becomes the mind when feelings become the means of thinking. You can't think greater than you feel. You are addicted to an emotion. You're neurochemically memorizing an emotion that is now part of your personality, grumpy old man. And you're finding the relationships that serve that chemical need. That's also what you need to see. Is you're also in the strategy at a very unconscious level of being in the relationships that allow for you to stay in these places. So you can be grumpy, because grumpy is now how you define yourself. It's now who you are. So it becomes a survival strategy. It's a very unconscious survival strategy so the body can survive. The body has come to know itself as grumpy. The body has come to know itself as anger. It's come to know itself as defeated. Our body-mind working as one is now stuck and lost in the past. Body now recognizes itself as anger, for example, and the body responds, and the mind responds to the body feeling and perceives more things to be angry about. To preserve the body. To preserve what the body thinks it to be now. Our possibility for greater happiness is now limited. The probability of happiness, health, and wealth happening is lessened by what we are now believing we have the power. We are not believing we have the power to change, what we do not have the desire to change, or what we believe is someone else's responsibility to change. One of the questions I asked through muscle testing in my office in a first consultation, it's one of 6 questions that I ask, just to see where are people at an unconscious level before we begin. One of the questions, at an unconscious level, are they willing to take 100% responsibility for their life and the creating of it, and 100% responsibility for the healing of themselves? I don't want that responsibility. I don't want them to take any portion of that responsibility and give it to somebody else who hurt them. Who hurt them, kicked them, punched them, scolded them. Oh, but 5% of the responsibility for my healing belongs to him. He left me. He hurt me. Yes, I get it. He did leave you and he did hurt you. But you are still responsible for the healing of you. You're still responsible for moving past that, for working with the light and working with the energy within the matter of you to get beyond that, to reconcile that time in your history and move forward. I don't mean get beyond it like, oh, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen and step over it. Okay, here I am beyond it. I'm really talking ho'oponopono beyond it. Beyond it in that I have neutralized the energy around it. I have delivered myself into greater understanding. I now get the divineness of the moment and why it occurred. I will say to clients all the time in my office, you are not done with the healing of you until you have only gratitude in your heart for every single person who has hit you, bit you, punched you, smited you, kicked you, etc. and beyond. Because somewhere in all of that, it's all divine. It's all divine. We are exactly where we need to be in any moment, in any given moment of any given day. And I'm not saying that it is a comfortable place to be. But it's exactly where we need to be, to unravel what we need to unravel, to see what we need to see, to unlock what we need to unlock, to move past what we need to move past, and make a different decision to create a different way. When we think from the past, we can only create past experiences. If we're thinking the same thoughts, doing the same things, feeling the same emotions, we begin to be hardwired in the brain to finite patterns and limited possibilities. The response cycle causes the brain and mind to reinforce this reality, projecting it into the body and into the external world. The more we fire the same circuits by reacting in our external life, the more we wire the brain to equal our personal world. We have just become neurochemically attached to the conditions of our past. That's an interesting piece to sit in. We have just become neurochemically attached to the conditions of our past. If you have a body that is filled up with the past, that is filled up with past emotion and feeling, and past beliefs, and past cellular memories, there is no creating new future from that place. Because the body isn't programmed for it. If we never stop thinking about our problems, then your mind, your body, and your life will merge together as one from that place, from your problems. We can call this a rut. And we get in our ruts. We have ruts in our brain. We have ruts in our body. We have ruts in our thinking. We have ruts in our belief systems. What this says is you have become the creator of your own repetitive loop, your own Groundhog Day. And it is affecting your genetic expression choices. What this says is you have the power to change it. To change your perceptions, beliefs, and attitudes is to change your thoughts and your feelings. If you change your thoughts, the feelings come online. Dr. Joe Dispenza. But one of his very big pivotal books is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. His second book, which I believe is still on the New York Best Times book list, is You Are the Placebo. So he talks about these concepts in great length. He is a neuroscientist, he's a chiropractor, his education is astounding. It's very interesting to sit in his presence. One of the things that he is doing, a little tiny bit of his story, 7 or 8 vertebrae of his back were broken in an accident when he was in his early 20s. Not knowing anything about any of the stuff that's in his book now, but having a nice background in neuroscience in university. He sets out to connect with the quantum universe of all possibility, not from any religious place, not from anything other than, I have to say no to what the doctors are offering me, because what the doctors are offering me means that I'm going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life and immobile, and that is completely unacceptable as a possibility. So I am going to start investigating this thing called the quantum universe of all possibility and see how that goes. It took him about a year to a year and a half to get himself into some sort of a meditation cycle where he actually started to feel like something was happening. Something was happening and something was really happening and really changing in his body. And that's what he's teaching. He's teaching people how to connect into that quantum universe of all possibility through meditation, and how to make the changes in the body and in the mind structure from that place. In other words, what he's doing is he's recognizing that is a light source. He speaks about it in his book. He is literally saying, this is where science is. Science is saying all matter emanates from that source. What science is calling the quantum universe of all possibility, that all matter emanates from that source. What science is also saying is all matter is densely packed light. What science is also saying is all matter is energy. That's quantum physics. I don't know about you. I matter. I matter. Wow. And I'm densely packed light? Cool. And I'm energy? Awesome. So if I stretch my horizons to go, what can I do? What can I do from the light within that is my densely packed matter? What can I do from that energy place? What is possible if I open my mind to I am more than this? What can I change and how quickly can I change it? He says we are at our best when we get beyond ourselves. These are all nice little pictures of meditation. But that's not the only way to get beyond yourself. Yoga can help us to get beyond ourself. Breathing techniques can help us to get beyond ourself. Ho'oponopono can help us to get beyond ourself. A friend of mine teaches a wonderful thing called ACE, which is advanced clearing technology. It can help to get beyond the emotional stuff that is stuck in the body. ACE. Advanced clearing technology. Advanced clearing energetics. So meditation will change who we are currently. It's one of the reasons why people don't know it. They don't do it. Because then we're asking you to lose yourself. People say, I want to find myself. Right, yes. Find yourself by losing yourself. Find yourself by losing the self that you are today. Move it out. What he basically says is you go into meditation Even a meditation where you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you connect into that quantum universe and you allow yourself to just let go to be that. You are changed by the very action that you did that. Something has been lifted, something has been shifted, something has been removed, something has been delivered, something has happened that says when I come out of that meditation, I'm just a little bit over here, or I'm a lot over here. I'm not feeling the same way that I did. This is a picture that was taken from a microscope of light operating in particle form and in wave form simultaneously at the same time. Scientists have never seen that. This happened this March. Yeah. It's massive, it's pivotal, right? Because remember, you're light, right? And so what it's basically saying is we have taken a picture under the microscope and we have captured this moment where light is behaving in a way that we never saw or knew it could behave, which is at the same time that it's existing in particle form. This is me in particle form. It is also existing in wave form at the exact same time. How frickin' cool is that? Besides the fact that it's a beautiful picture. Where are we going to go with that over the next 10 years? And how long is it going to take us, humanity, to be able to really get at a human consciousness level that we are human, we are Homo sapiens sapiens, we are matter, we are energy, we are light, and really get it. And really get it. Like get it, like my gut brain gets it, my heart gets it, my head gets it, and my gonad brain gets it even though they don't get it yet. It gets it. And when all of me really gets that, does that make me homoluminous? Have I just moved in consciousness from Homo sapiens sapien to homoluminous? Human being having a light experience. Light body. A human light body. Light body in human form. I'm a light body in human form. Holy man, that sounds good. That's got to throw out a couple of insignificant beliefs. I'm a light body in human form. This is why I'm not so interested in knowing so much about this technology, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and I can hardly wait to know what my light body in human form can do tomorrow. What my energy body in human form can do tomorrow. What can it shift? What can it move? What can it take from matter into wave form and then into light? Meditation pulls the old mind out of the body so that the body can participate in creating new future instead of more of the past. Meditation delivers us into a closer connection with the quantum universe of all possibility, and from that place we can bring forward new vision for our future, which our body can now feel through experience within that meditation and real connection to that new reality. Because in order for us to anchor it, we have to believe it to be real, to go into meditation and find and see that vision for your future, to really allow that to start to play and take hold while you are in that meditative state. Is your body now allowing itself to feel that reality? You go into meditation more and more, the body feels that more and more, the body has already become that reality. And now the body is just bringing forward with the heart and with the mind that which will create it and manifest it on the earth plane. What science says is that which we can see in that field When we can see it in that field and bring it into our bodies, when we can do that, it will manifest on the earth plane. It's a law. It's a law. If you're not going to go into meditation, if you're resistant to the meditation, if you're going, I can't do it, I can't get there, we've got a bit of time, I'll tell you a couple of tricks. What you can do is just speak the words out loud or in your head, I am infinite. I am infinite. Science is saying that all matter comes from this place. This quantum place of all possibility, the place that they also call the nothingness place, where there's possibility within it, and it is a nothingness place. We come from that place. All matter comes from that place. And that place is infinite. Which means the light of us knows that. And so when we say, I am infinite, we are waking up the light. It's like the light particles within us that are making up the matter are going, hello? You're speaking to us? Oh, she's recognizing us as light. Oh, she's recognizing her light. She's talking to us. She's talking to that place within us. I have felt the excitement of my own light. As I say that, I am infinite. There is also a groundedness that happens because the monkey business starts to dissipate when you start to really internalize, I am infinite. I am infinite. All this monkey business, all this thought, feeling, craziness starts just kind of, because it's all projection. I am infinite. I am infinite. When I start a session in my office, I'm always saying the same thing. From the spark of pure love and light, contained within me, I connect to Source and I give thanks. From this place of oneness, connection, purity of heart, pure love, pure light, love unconditional and grace, I accept that I am infinite. I accept the infinite within me and I work from that place. And I begin to work with whoever it is that I am working with. I want to be that clear. Science tells us that all matter is densely packed light. Science has proven that all matter is energy. That is quantum physics, thanks to Albert Einstein and quantum mechanics, early 1900s. So the question is, are you open to going where science already is, or are you going to continue to pretend that you are just matter and there's nothing else to you other than matter? There's nothing else to you than matter. Are you prepared to start embracing the light and the energy that is the truth of your matter existence and learn how to recognize it, work with it, grow with it, and stop playing so small, trying to resolve conflicts in life and realize dreams from such a limited place as just matter? And are you prepared to give your genes an opportunity to express their most magnificent self in a potentially happier, healthier environment within you and beyond? You have the potential to do all of that. So then I just end this presentation, and then it looks like we'll have a couple of minutes for questions, which says, let's just first make this simple. Let's just start simply. Do something different. Do anything differently. Dr. Joe Dispenza is huge about this. He says we are so locked in our habits and patterns that we're bored. We're bored with our life, we're bored with ourselves. We get up every morning at the same time, we get out of bed the same way, we put on the same kinds of clothes. We go down and we make our coffee, we have the same breakfast. We leave for work at the same time. We go to work, we go to the same job. We drive the same highways. We come home, we eat the same dinners. We have 7 different dinners and then we recycle them again. We go out to the same restaurants. We order the same food when we get to that restaurant. We go to the same place to do our yoga on the same night. We have the same teacher. We're repetitive animals. And it keeps us safe. And it keeps everything known. And it can keep things pretty boring and unexciting. And we're doing it to stay safe. And we're doing it to try to control. So what he just said is, do something different. Start by just doing something different. Go to a different restaurant this weekend with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or the person you're going out with. Don't go to the movie on Tuesday night because it's cheap night. Don't go to a movie at all. Go see live music. Keep the date night if that's the only date night that you can have, but go see live music. It's pretty good and the price is pretty good. Yuck Yucks, I think, is still $12 a person or something. No, maybe it's $19. Take your coffee upstairs. Go make your coffee and take it upstairs and put it on with your makeup instead of having it and taking it out the door. In other words, he's just saying, do it differently. Change it up. It's a first step that basically says to your mind and body that you are now prepared to take action, to do something differently, and you're now prepared to change things up a bit, and you're now prepared to start breaking habits. And you're now making it more of a conscious thought process. And I think this last piece, we're prepared to become more flexible and not so much the creator of habits. And I think it's very interesting, this whole massive trend toward yoga. One of the trends toward yoga might be very much connection to that quantum field of all possibility, but it might also be about flexible. Our desire to be more flexible and our need to be more flexible. So if in fact you've done that from a physical level, then look at where your inflexibility is as far as habits and other places and start to be a bit more flexible in some of those. It's a start. Ho'oponopono I love. Take responsibility for the thoughts and the monkey business and the feelings that cascade after that. You just created that. You sided with that. It's interesting that, I didn't put it up here, but it's interesting that where science is and what science knows from a neurochemical standpoint, so neurotransmitters, a neurotransmitter like dopamine, so it's happy, dopamine, serotonin, any neurotransmitter, including the ones that get you feeling angry, any neurotransmitter has a life of 14 seconds. 14 seconds, and then it sparks out. So if you are angry with your wife or your husband for more than 14 seconds, you have just done something and reignited something within you, consciously or unconsciously, that kept that neurotransmitter coming back, not coming back, but kept another one now coming into the cycle. Because you should have been done with that anger in 14 seconds. So if you're still angry 3 days later, you're working really hard. Take responsibility for that. I take responsibility for how interested I am in staying in this anger. How interested I am in carrying this grudge. Sometimes we stay in these places because we don't see anything else as possible. It's not about making anything else as possible. We don't see anything else as possible. This is the only place that I can be now because he did that. So this is a justifiable reaction to his doing that. And I'm going to stay here until he gets on his knees, takes me out for dinner, until we have make-up sex. I'm going to stay there until he does something to change this. Well, you just gave a portion of your 100% healing over to that person. And we do it a lot. Okay, so I'm finished with, I think, I don't have it, yep, the blank screen says that's it. So I'm finished with the presentation as it exists.